Good morning. It's Saturday, December 19, 2020. Out here at Hart Park doing a warm-up loop around the lake before I head out to the Hart Park hills. There they are in the background. We don't have much, but we do have a little bit of hills here. I think the tallest hill is about 1,000 feet. Feeling pretty good considering I did my longest bike ride yesterday. Not very long to most of you, but 12 miles. Rode over to pick up our sweatshirts from the Jingle Bell Run. It was supposed to happen today, but was canceled because of COVID. So instead, I'm gonna go do some hills, training for hopefully potential Trail Spartan type race or event. In fact, in February, there's the Grit one up in Santa Clarita. So hopefully I'll be doing that. Got a little bit of DOMS, delayed muscle soreness from my Jungle Gym skate park adventure the other day. I don't know what it was, I guess Thursday I did that. And I felt pretty good Friday, but then last night, I was like, why am I so sore? Okay, I did, a CrossFit workout with 100 push-ups, but then I realized it was that 50 minutes of climbing on the Jungle Gym set and climbing up and down the skateboard features that got me a little sore, and I haven't been sore in ages. So good stuff. And today, probably do a couple hours out here, at least get in 6-7 miles, doing a little warm-up as I wait for some people to get out here, and we will go do our miles. And then this evening, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. Probably jump on the treadmill and do a Swift workout. Looking forward to the marathon project tomorrow. Possibly even try and find it on the internet so I can be on Swift while they're racing. These short days of winter. It's December 19th, and just feel the days are short. Of course, down here in California, we have actually pretty long days. I don't know how you people in the northern climes handle so much darkness. It was interesting today when we were off walking out in the Hart Park hills, which we haven't done in quite some time. We were talking about races, and we started talking about Boston, and it was interesting, that I was saying how, women can run like 30 minutes slower than men to qualify. So like the 35 and under, men have to run 3 hours, women run 3:30. And I don't know, it doesn't seem that fair. And the person I was talking to, of course, was like, she was like, maybe there's just not that much interest. So it got me to looking, and in the marathon now, it's about 50-50. There's more men than women, but not by much. What was interesting is in the under 39, there's actually more women than men running the race. So goes to show you. Trying to get motivated to do my Fitbit workout and then get on the treadmill and do a 30-minute easy recovery chug, walk 5 minutes, run 5 minutes, that kind of thing. Earlier today, I was listening to the Malcolm Gladwell Finishing It Up on Let's Run podcast, and it was interesting how he was talking about how, to make track and running bigger sport here in America, you got a lot of participants, as I just mentioned, like with the marathon and stuff, the Boston Marathon. And he said, the shoe companies, having the sport in the hands of shoe companies kind of isn't very good. They need other advertisers. But he also said that, Nike, I don't think has been that good for the sport. And he's was really surprised that you have soccer, and it's got a lot of participants. Not a lot of older people really run soccer, not like running. But he says you never hear of any soccer teams and soccer programs being eliminated in the NCAA, and soccer's not making money, so it's not a money sport. And he says that we really need to bring track and field and cross country up to that level, because now track and cross country have as many people on the teams as a soccer team. And he said that like with the whole Clemson thing, they're a Nike school. Nike should have just said, hey, you're keeping track and field. You're keeping cross country. They're only a couple $100,000 in savings. And he says that he thinks that Nike really needs to throw their weight around. So kind of an interesting take on all of that. It's just kind of sad seeing, and I've talked about it, how our sport just doesn't seem, it's got a lot of people in it, but then not people really seeming to work it right or monetize it. And Gladwell's saying there's just not a lot of thinking and people trying something new. He said, for example, he goes, look how Strava, who knew that a whole bunch of, recreational people would love to be able to post what they're doing and people follow them and stuff. It's become huge, but we've obviously haven't taken advantage of the power of Strava and things like that. So it's interesting. Hopefully someday somebody will have ideas to grow the sport and make it so that our best can be, paid well for it. Well, they always say you never regret a workout, and that's definitely the case Wasn't really feeling it. Came inside, did the Fitbit workout, and got on the treadmill. Did a little 30-minute chug run. It's a 5-minute walk, 5-minute run while watching The Sopranos. And in the end, it was a pretty decent walk run. So it's the end of another day. So I did start off the day with a little long sustained distance out at Hart Park, and then spent most of the day working on various projects. And it was interesting today. I saw this one thing on, I don't know if your community, but they had bird scooters were in town for a while, a year or so ago. And our council person, the guy sometimes tries to do some stuff correctly. I mean, you got to give him some credit. But he posted today or the other day, he says, "Bird is the word. Bird scooters could be coming back to Bakersfield as early as this week. Let's ride." And in fact, I think he deleted my comment. But it's like, when those things are around, they're just dangerous. And, Bakersfield downtown is maybe a mile or two, 1 mile, square mile or something. So it's not very big. And so he's like acting like, oh, then people can get around or revitalize the downtown. And I'm like thinking, no, they're super dangerous. You don't wear helmets. You can go wherever you want on them. And they're just a terrible idea. And he and his followers, of course, are, saying, oh, it's a great thing. And I'm like, hey, during COVID, you shouldn't be out partying and socializing on the things anyways. And the streets downtown are really busy with traffic. A lot of the sidewalks and streets are being commandeered by restaurants, which I'm not sure are supposed to be open now for even outside dining. So the whole thing is just terrible. The police department can't keep people from sleeping on the sidewalks, much less patrolling people on these electric scooters. And so it's just kind of funny how you get into little dust-ups with people, but it's not like I really care. But one of the things I really liked was I by Kern kind of posted among a couple postings where they posted how dangerous the things are and how many cities don't want them in their communities. This one was kind of good, and I like it. It says, we can do more than one thing at a time, because that's what Gonzalez said to, like, oh, we can, do more than one thing at a time, because I said, hey, how about getting people to walk and pedestrian safety? So it says, but doing multiple wrong things at one time is doubly unsuccessful. I think Andraegonzales made some very valid points, as do you. Finding a solution requires listening to all users, not just a hip or in crowd of users, as you know, are concerned with also. We applaud your efforts and energy, but we don't support these measures. They, in our opinion, are a liability that cities can't afford to manage. Helmets, illegal use, collisions, these are all issues that are already overworked. Bakersfield Police Department would have to enforce the patrol. And it's, in our humble opinion, the cart before the heist. So that was a bicycle concern here. And the thing, too, is like, they're going to come back next week. Right now, you can't find an empty hospital bed. And so you're going to start having people out here. And I know nothing might happen, but you know what? 1 or 2 people being in the hospital because they got in an accident on a scooter, a bird scooter that we don't need. It's not, they're a want, they're not a need. And you can perfectly walk around and all that kind of stuff, and it's just like, this time it just seems so bizarre that this guy's wasting his time and energy on it. And then, of course, his people are very, adamant and, saying, oh, making fun of me again, like, oh, shut up, fat boy. It's just amazing the fat shaming kind of things you get, but that's just how it works, I guess. But, and like I said, it's, a lot of concerns, but, just liability and stuff. But, right now we have a very big concern with hospital and hospitalization, and you really don't want to go to the hospital unless you have to. When I had my fall in the beginning of March, that was when COVID was first hitting here in California, and, we were stay at home. And one of the reasons I didn't go see the doctor was because they were telling us to, that we were trying to flatten the curve and keep people from going to the doctor and the hospital. And so I stayed away for quite some time, and almost probably stayed away too long. I ended up going when I couldn't breathe, and you look at my Fitbit data, my resting heart rate, so usually 50, was like almost 80 for the entire day. Couldn't breathe. I was diagnosed with congestive heart failure, but I kind of stayed away, and maybe stayed away almost too long. And so adding these bird scooters to the whole mix is very silly. So that's my 2 cents. It is endurance news and random musings. And of course, this is kind of more of my training day video vlog, and thank you for listening. And please subscribe if you can. I'm almost to 100 subscribers and on my way to trying to get 1,000 someday. Speaking of COVID, obviously, the death rate now is like over 3,000 a day here in the United States. It's December 19, 2020. And just like I said the other day, finally someone who I knew fairly well passed away. his obituary was in the paper today. You know, my friend, this guy Glenn Gregory, who I often hiked with, and he succumbed to complications of COVID-19 this past weekend, and you know, December 15th actually. And you know, he 70 years old, was an avid hiker. You know, I love the thing here. It says that, you know, he moved to Bakersfield in the 90s, 1992, and it says Glenn was larger than life figure in a local hiking community, serving as hiking leader for Kern River Valley Hiking Club and Southern Sierra Hiking Club. His friends and fellow hikers often described him as a gentle giant whose heart was bigger than his stature. Hiking was Glenn's passion, and he always planning his next adventure. His expeditions would take him across the United States and Canada. He loved being in nature, stopping to admire wildflowers, waxing poetic about the geology observed on each trail. He was not the fastest hiker. It was never a race with Glenn. He was a proud member of the, he spiritedly called the Sloth Hiking Club. One would often find Glenn trailing in the back of the group, wearing his trademark Tilly hat, encouraging everyone to keep going, making sure no one was left behind. And I met him, I'm not even sure, 5-6 years ago probably, and he was definitely, he was just a friendly guy. Everyone knew him, and just lots of good stories and tales, and he will be missed. Like I said, he's the first person that I've really really knew fairly well. And I kind of say that, I mean, I know a lot of people, and I'm glad I do get to know a lot of people, but he was somebody like, you know, I could send a text and be like, hey, what's going on? You know, it wouldn't be like, whoa, what's going on? So very kind of sad time here in the community. A lot of my friends met Glenn through hiking, especially a lot of them when they first started hiking, and he was that person that made you feel welcome and just kept everybody going and being a life of the party, you know. And I've often tried to do that myself. You know, me and him would often, you know, be the sweepers because we just wanted everyone to be inclusive, and so, you know, it was very nice to have him around. So, you know, as I say all the time, you know, everybody, you know, stay healthy, be boring, not epic.